And we're back here at Kope's Corner in search of where trading meets investing. So these are two completely different viewpoints here, and we're trying to find that middle ground so that everybody can learn from our experiences. So, of course, I'm not a financial advisor or an investment advisor, so please don't mistake any of these lessons for anything other than education. And here's the disclaimer for that. So definitely want to pause this and read the entire thing. So let's get into this week's trade highlight. Last week was EGY, which did pretty well, and then at the end of the week it came crashing down basically to where it started. So if you were smart enough to move up your stops as the price range moved up, you probably would have made money. So this trade I want to highlight is ARQL, and I'm looking for an entrance right around 495. Seems to be a pretty average level over the last day. This is the 15-minute candlestick chart. So that's important to realize that this entire range right here is 1 week. So in the last week, it was actually up 51.92% last week. Full disclaimer, I do have a position in this. I did buy it earlier in the week, so it's looking pretty good. But I'm gonna let my profits run a little bit next week if this really takes off. But notice this is where my stop is right now, because that was basically the low of the day Friday. If it forms a new low, there's really no saying how much it could drop, because it rose 51% last week. So it's a definite possibility that this stock could get cut in half next week. So this stop is right around 10%, and you'll see that in the trade template in the next slides. But you definitely want to have a hard stop, even if you don't place the order so everyone can see it. At least have a mental stop in your mind and check the close price of the day. And if the close price, if it's going to close below this stop, then that's a signal that you need to exit the position. So there's a lot of ways to trade, but the best way is to set stops and targets, and that way you can try and gain some consistency when you're really tracking your performance. So here is the trade template. You can see how it is a 10% stop and a 20% target. So we're aiming for just above $6 for this stock. And here's our risk right here. We're risking $2,000. So the risk is just the account balance times the position sizing, which is 20,000, and then times the stop of 10%. So 10% of 20,000 is 2,000, and that's how we calculate our risk. Now, could we be exposed to more risk than this? Of course we could. So it could continue to fall for a few days and get close to our stop, and then gap down largely overnight, in which case we would lose a lot more. But that's why we're tracking these positions daily. It's really important to follow these stocks. This is our money, so it's obviously at risk every second it's in the market. And here is the hot stocks. So last week we did pretty well, had 4 winners except for the newsletter trade, but remember, this was up 40%, 45% intra-week, so I captured a lot of gains on this. I believe it was 20%. I'd have to look back, but I know I was up pretty big in this position. So just because it was down on the week doesn't mean that you couldn't have still profited wildly. And this week, here's the hot stocks, 5 hot stocks for you. So I'll get that trade template out to everybody in the email, and if you love this stuff like I do, definitely subscribe to my channel on YouTube, the Kope channel. And if you want even more, you can book a strategy session on dkope.com. You're going to need to fill out a survey, because I take this very seriously, and for me for me to schedule out a 45-minute call, I want to see that you're serious about the call. So fill out the 10-question survey and schedule your life-changing strategy session. I can't wait to talk to you. And definitely go on Facebook and like our company because it's amazing. And I really don't know what else to say. So that's it for Cope's Corner. I'll see you next week.